In this video, I want to show you how to work with and install the spot, rectangular, and disc lights into your SketchUp model using Enscape. So I like to think of the spot as kind of like a flashlight. It concentrates light in a specific direction, just like a flashlight does. So we use these light types in interior design for things like track lighting or as directional downlights that are actually highlighting something on the wall. The goal is to use directional lights to give emphasis to something in a space. The rectangular and disc bulbs are similar to the spotlight, but they have a wider base. The spotlight's going to have like a pin light that it starts with, and then it kind of emits light from that. But the rectangular and disc bulbs have that wider base, and it's not quite as directional. The light tends to fan out a little bit more from the source than the spotlight does. And we use these types of lights in general can lighting that you find in the ceiling where the fixtures actually flush to the ceiling surface. Kind of like this fixture that I'm showing here in my model. Now, one rule in lighting is to keep your lighting as symmetrical as possible. Now, you don't want to light your room in any way that's unbalanced. It creates overlit areas, and it can also create dark areas in your space if you don't keep everything balanced. So, I designed this drop-down ceiling that you see here to help house some of the can fixtures because they can be up to like 1 foot in length up above the ceiling. You just don't realize how much space that you need for some of these light fixtures. I use my measuring tape tool to grid out my ceiling every 6 feet. So every time you see like one of these grid lines intersecting, like you see it right here, it means that I should place a can light there, and that placement will be symmetrical, therefore lighting the space evenly. So my goal for this video is to not only show you how to install this bulb into a can light, but also how to place the lights in a smart and effective way using a grid system. So first you can see my light fixture, which is right here. I got this off of 3D Warehouse. This is a component, so the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and edit that component. And then I'm going to click on the black and white plus sign up here, which is Enscape Objects, to reveal the light menu. Now I'm going to start with spot, and then I will end with disc. Just know that rectangle and disc are very similar, and the only difference is their shape. So with the spotlight connected, when I bring my cursor out, you can see that there is a cone shape attached to the cursor. And what that cone shape is showing you is the direction that the light's going to be in. But I will tell you that I have done some research. I have looked at some other people's videos. I think there's a really smart way to add this light because it's a 4-click system to install the light. And it's really hard to place perfectly the first time. So to help you save time and energy, I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm actually going to use my black arrow. I'm going to go ahead and get the pencil tool open. And what you see here is what I'm trying to do is find the center of this fixture. And for the most part, that center is at the top of this little blue axis that you see right here. But you can also hover your mouse around the edge to see that that is indeed the center of this fixture. And I'm going to draw from the top, and I'm just going to come down a little bit using that blue axis. Make sure that you stay on that. Don't go black. Stay blue. And you can just bring it down just a little bit. You don't have to go very far, and you definitely don't have to go all the way down to the floor. And what we're doing is we're just helping us place this light in here as perfectly and precisely the first time without wasting a lot of time trying to figure out which direction we're actually pointing at. So with that created, I'm going to come up to the spotlight, and the first click is going to start that base point. So very much like the sphere, that base point is there, but I can still move this light around. The second one will actually make the source or the base of the light stick. So I'm just going to go right back to where that was, my first click, and go ahead and click. The third one is going to also place a base point for which direction that your light is going. So I'm going to go to the end of this line and click on it. and then the fourth click will actually make the light stick in the direction that you want it to go. So again, I'm going to click on the end of that line, and I have now placed that down light perfect the first time. I'm not wasting any more time trying to do it. Without that line, I could actually be pointing back behind and not even realize that I'm doing that. So I think that the line trick is very helpful. You can always come back, and I'm just going to use a left to right selection box to select that line and delete it out. We don't really need to have that there. So once that light is placed, I'm going to go out of the component, and you can see here that it got placed. But I might need to adjust how bright that light is in order to actually see it. Because right now it's a little hard to see in the Enscape model that anything is actually happening. So I'm going to come back here, right click, edit component, and click on that so that I can change like the luminosity. I could even change the size of the beam. See how I can make it smaller? Or I can make it larger. So if I do something like this, do you see how in Enscape we now see that circle hitting the floor? That's kind of showing you how bright this actually can be. So I'm going to leave it just here for demonstration purposes, but it's up to you to decide how bright you want that to actually be shining. And as we start coming in here and as the light starts adjusting, you can still see the circumference of that circle on the floor. Alright, so that's how you install one of these lights for spotlights. So if you have track lighting or a movable down light, that's something that you want to install, but it's probably not the best light source for the type of lighting that I'm trying to achieve. So I know you're going to hate me, but I'm going to edit component and delete that one, and let's work with the disc instead. So again, the difference between the spotlight and the disc is that there's going to be a wider base. See how wide that is compared to the spotlight? I'm going to do the exact same thing actually first. I'm going to get that pencil tool. I'm going to draw that line. You don't have to go down very far, just go far enough that you can draw that cone in. And now come to the disc. And it's a 4-click system as well. Click, 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 click. Oop, I didn't get that 4th click, but there we go. And you'll notice how big that light is compared to the fixture, and this is where you can play with how wide that actually is. But do you see how that makes such a big difference from the spotlight? So something about right there is pretty accurate. You can actually see the light coming out of it. And as we back out, and I'm going to reorbit into the space so that the lighting actually kind of comes into play. I'm the worst at orbiting, everybody. I'm going to use the eyeball tool to kind of help me just look around a little bit, and then I'm going to use the pan hand to help me kind of get into the space. But you can see that that circle is actually a lot softer. Let's see if we can up the beam on it. There we go. It's much more ambient. There's not like that hard circle line that you see here, but you can see how wide that actually came out. So kind of up to you to decide how much light you want to have on it, but that's how you install it. So I'm going to leave it just as it is. I'm going to click out of that group. Oh, except that I need to go back and get rid of that line, otherwise these lines show up. So edit the component, grab that line, and I'm going to hit escape. What I also like about it is you can see how that light's coming straight out of the fixture itself, like it's illuminating up on top. If you've ever worked with Revit, a lot of times the can lights don't even look like they're on, but this one looks like it's on. Okay, so now's the time to start cloning this on the grid so that we can place these lights evenly and it looks like a legitimate light installation. So I'm going to grab this, move command, hold down control. This time, instead of clicking on the fixture itself, click on the line right next to the fixture. Click, let go of control, and you'll clone it. And all you have to do is just use your axes to go to the next line, and it's going to place that fixture perfectly. So just to demo that one more time, move command, hold Control. I'm going to click on this line right here, let go of Control, so now I've cloned it, and then I'm going to use my axes to go all the way over to the other line, and it'll place that fixture perfectly at the center of that grid's intersection. So one more time, here we go. Move Command, hold Control, click, let go of Control, click, and the light is placed. So that wasn't too bad. I'm going to use the pan hand to kind of come back a little bit. And you can actually flip this so that you're working on the ceiling now instead of on the floor. You just gotta not be in the middle of the ceiling like I always tend to do. Here I'm at the bottom. I'm going to come up this direction. This will be a little bit easier to work from. Alright, so again, click, move, copy this over here, and then what you can do, you can grab a couple at the same time, or actually this next one that we're supposed to do has 3, so I'm just going to work smart instead of hard, and I'm going to grab all 3 of these light fixtures, move Command, hold Control, click base point, let go of Control, and use that green axis to make sure that those lights get placed perfectly on those intersections. See how that works? The next one I only need 2, so I'm going to come here, grab this fixture, grab this fixture, come over here and place those right on there, and then the same thing with the 3 behind. Now if I was really smart, I would have just placed all 3 of those in the areas that needed 3 lights the first time, but you know, it's just demonstration purposes. There we go. Now I have all of my ceiling can lights installed. All of them have lights, and now look at how well lit this space actually is. It might be a little overlit, so again, to readjust those lights, you have to select the light source. So you can grab any of these. I'm just going to the original one, Edit Component. The tricky part is that you have to grab the light source itself, and then this little light panel kind of shows up where you can adjust exactly how much light is coming out of these. So maybe I just need to kind of calm her down a little. So again, it's up to you how much light is actually emitting from these. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to do the line light, but for the most part in this video, you learned how to install light into a can light and also how to place multiple lights using a grid system.